Just waiting on a few voices. Thank you, and again, good morning, Riverside. Welcome to our Move for Mana launch assembly. It's pretty amazing we can come together, all of us. Just waiting for everybody to settle down. It is unbelievable we can come together, this many people in a room, launching something together. Something important. You've figured out by now, we're combating hunger in children, and in particular in Somalia, way far away from here in Africa. And that's a pretty amazing goal. And we're doing it in a really unique way. Now, this assembly today is a launch, but imagine the amount of work that went into just preparing the entire thing we're about to do. And all these blue-shirted people here are the key people. These are the Move for Mana team. Give it up for this Move for Mana team. Big round of applause. They were led by some dedicated teachers, including Mr. Rand, Mr. Brett, Mr. Schoenhals, and of course, Ms. Roberge. Those 4 teachers made this happen with these kids. A round of applause for the teachers that supported us. Thank you. I'd also like us to show an incredible, warm Riverside welcome to some invited guests sitting on the end over there. And of course, Tyson Venegas, who's going to come out and join us a little bit later. So a big round of applause for our visitors today. I'm excited about this month. I'm excited about getting active, more active, and using this app and figuring out what is Move for Mana and how much can we do as a school. I'm motivated, I'm psyched, and I'm so psyched, I'm now going to pass it off to these 4 people here. These are our MCs today, starting with Mershad, on to Kelsey, and Dee Dee, and Henry. Here they are, starting with Mershad. Big round of applause for Mershad.
What's up, Riverside? Woo! Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us at our first annual Move for Mana event. Woo! Yeah! Today is World Food Day, and around the world, we're being asked, what can we do to impact people suffering from severe acute malnutrition and people who are impacted by poverty and hunger? And in recognition of this day, this is how Riverside's going to make a difference.
We would like to begin our assembly by calling Ms. Ross up to acknowledge the traditional territories.
Riverside Secondary School resides on the traditional and unceded territory of the Coquitlam First Nation, as well as the shared territories of the Katzie, Stalo, Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish nations. And we would all like to thank them today for sharing their territory with us, all our relations.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ross. We are so fortunate to have with us today many amazing speakers and performers. If you could all look to the side of the gym, we would like to acknowledge the following 4 guests. We will have them stand, and if everyone can please hold their applause until all 4 guests have been acknowledged, that would be greatly appreciated.
From Langley, we have the founder and executive director, Maria Martini, from the Food for Famine Society. All the way from Charlotte, North Carolina, we have Mark Moore, who is one of the co-founders and producers of the RETF packages.
From Orange County, California, we have Troy Hickerson from Active for Good. Troy works with Active for Good and is also the co-founder. He has also helped with Mana Nutrition and their technology. Lastly, all the way from Hamilton, Ontario, we have Stacia Von Hogeter. Stacia has been working with World Vision Canada for over 20 years now, and helps children, families, and communities all over the world to reach their full potential by tackling the causes of poverty and injustice. Let's give them all a warm Riverside welcome.
So before we begin, we would like to remind you that we'll be activating our glow sticks at the end of the assembly when our performer Tyson Venegas comes on stage. So we're going to start off the assembly with our Move for Mana promotional video, which is going to highlight some of the key points of this initiative. And just as a new update, the statistic of 1 child dies in every 6 seconds has now been improved to 1 in every 8. Please turn your attention to the screens.
Millions of children in Africa recovered through the consumption of RUTF packets, ready-to-use therapeutic food. RUTF has the same nutritional value as half a chicken breast, 1 stick of butter, 1.5 carrots, 2 hamburger patties, 9 asparagus stalks, a bunch of spinach, half a cup of olive oil, 1 orange, and 3 cups of milk. It looks and tastes just like peanut butter.
October 16th is World Food Day, and Riverside's partnering up with MANA, Food for Famine, and World Vision Canada on a 30-day challenge to get active and save lives.
You can use the Active for Good app to track your physical activity.
And earn good points that will be used towards RUTF packages.
For every 500 calories that is burned, 1 RUTF packet for its health desperately.
So come on, Rockets, get active and save lives.
Our first speaker today is Mark Moore. Mark Moore is the co-founder of Mana Nutrition, which is the #1 supplier of ready-to-use therapeutic food, also known as RUTF. Mark and his team raised $13 million in 2011 to build Mana's vast production facility, which partners with UNICEF, the World Food Program, World Vision Canada, Doctors Without Borders, and USAID to help in their efforts in fighting malnutrition in more than 50 countries across the globe. Prior to Mana, Mark lived and worked for 10 years in Uganda, East Africa, where he served as a missionary and launched the Kibo Group. Please help us in giving Mark Moore a Riverside welcome.
Well, thank you. It's kind of hard to see out there in the dark, but thank you for doing this. This is amazing. We just came from Heritage Woods, who's doing the same thing, so I hear there's going to be a little competition. So I'm curious if you plan on beating them. Are you planning on winning this? I tell you what, it's cool to be in here. I just flew in from Charlotte. I live in the east side of the United States. And when I got on the plane, they put me in seat 23E. 23E is an exit row. And for any of you who fly, for me, getting in an exit row is a great thing because you have extra leg room. And the flight attendant came up to us and looked at each person. There were about 6 of us sitting across the plane. And she said, I need all of your attention. I need you to look straight at me. And so all of us had to look up from our phones, a big inconvenience, and look right at her. And she said, I need a verbal confirmation and I need a visual confirmation. I need you to say yes and I need you to nod your head. And here was the question she asked, and it's the question they ask on every plane that flies. And it's this: in the event of an emergency, are you willing and able to assist your fellow passengers? And if you think about that question, that's a pretty deep existential question, because what does an emergency mean on an airplane? It means that there's big trouble. Maybe there are flames flying up, or that this plane has now crashed and it's in water, and water is rushing in through the windows, and we happen to be sitting right by the exit doors. And her question to us was 2 things. Are you willing and able? Because just about everyone is able to help in the event of an emergency, but when the emergency comes, it turns out that probably not that many people are actually willing. And so they had to learn through, I guess, experience to say, hey, I need you to be both of these things. I need you to be willing and able. And my question to you today is this: we are flying through the air on this thing called Earth, and we're going one direction, and each trip we make around the sun, we're flying at many, many times the speed of any aircraft. Even though you don't feel it right now, we're spinning the other direction. And so you're flying on this ball through the air with a bunch of other people. And as you fly through space, the question is this: in the event of an emergency, are you willing and able to help your fellow passengers? And we know that there are plenty of problems on this earth. And so we've got to figure out what exactly is it that constitutes an emergency. And if a child dying every 8 seconds is not an emergency, I'm not really sure what is. And so what's cool about this room is it's a bunch of people who said, We think this is an emergency, and we are both willing and able to help out. And so that's what Move for Manna is going to be about. The children who are severely, acutely malnourished don't live in this neighborhood, but you know what's happening in Canada right now is that we have a malnutrition problem. The Latin prefix mal means bad nutrition, and we have bad nutrition. And what bad nutrition happens to the youth of Canada, it means that when you're a little older in life, you may struggle with things like diabetes or with heart disease. It means that you won't live as long. It means that you won't have nearly as good a life as you could if you don't get active, if we don't all get off our phones and quit looking at our phones, if we don't get out and enjoy the beauty and the surroundings of stuff around us. And so the malnutrition problem in Canada is that we're not active enough, that maybe we're eating the wrong foods, and that maybe we're overnourished. And so this is a cool program to say, hey, we're going to address our own malnutrition struggles by getting more active than we might have been otherwise, but we're also going to do it. And each time that app clicks over and registers another packet, I'll know that I've fed a kid. And you guys have a goal that's really pretty ambitious, and I'll be excited to see if you make it. Now, the way that works, as you saw in the video, is that if you actually get out and get active, if you go play hockey, if you go for a run, if you go do yoga, whatever it is you love to do something you love, ride your bike, get active, burn those calories, burn that energy, and then the Food for Famine Society, which is located right here in Langley, is actually going to pay. Each one of these little packets costs about 25 to 30 cents, and so they're going to actually pay for the peanut butter and the milk and the vitamins that go into this. And then we're going to give it to World Vision, and World Vision, which Stacia works for over here, is actually going to do the hardest part of all. They're going to get it to the kids who need it. So that's quite a team that we've got put together. We need you to get active. We need Food for Famine to actually help us pay for this. We need World Vision to get it out into the hands of the moms who need it to feed their own kids. And what's cool is through that coalition, not any one of us could do it. And so my company gets a lot of credit here at Manna, but guess what? All we do is make peanut butter. That's kind of the easy part, but we can't make that peanut butter without your activity. And so you're going to see this app, and I'll tell you one quick story as I close for my part. It's that we started Manna, and Manna, we built this factory down in Georgia, and Georgia's where all the peanuts are in the United States. And it's pretty cool that we made that, and now we supply the UN and groups like that. But then we found out, but how can we actually grow this thing? How could we be bigger? How could we feed more kids? And we started thinking about all the wasted energy. What if we could go to the youth around the world and say, we want to grab your energy. We know you don't have money, so we're not going to ask you for money, but you have tons of energy. And old people like me are running out of energy. We don't have the energy like you. The energy that's in this room, the fun that's going to happen in this assembly, that kind of energy, what if we could grab that and actually turn it into a packet? And so Troy Hickerson, who's standing over here, my friend, and I went to a place, Unreasonable Institute.